videos because the US Congress's House Intelligence Committee is holding a hearing later on today on the rise of so-called deep fakes online.
So let's explain what those are. They are videos generated by artificial intelligence doctoring real images of people to show them saying or doing things that never happened. This is one example of it happening to Mark Zuckerberg.
The US Director of National Intelligence is warning that they could increasingly be used in campaigns to falsely influence public opinion.
And that's one of the reasons why Facebook's hired more than 30,000 people to vet the content that appears on its site. So let's have a look at that Mark Zuckerberg deep fake uploaded video.
Imagine this for a second. One man with total control of billions of people's stolen data, all their secrets, their lives, their futures. I owe it all to Spectre. Spectre showed me that whoever controls the data controls the future.
Spooky. And clearly not him. With us now is the very real Charlotte G, senior writer at MIT Technology Review. Just how dangerous are they?
Potentially very dangerous. This is a problem now, but it's going to become a much bigger problem further down the line. And if you look at the US campaign, which is now really kicking off for next year's election, it's something that we're going to have to grapple with sooner rather than later.
And one of the reasons it could become a very big problem is because the tech now, I mean, that did look a bit weird and a bit creepy. You were questioning, but in the future, the idea is the technology will be so sophisticated, it would be very difficult to ascertain what is real and what is fake.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting more advanced, basically almost by the month. You can sort of tell it isn't real. There's something around his eyes, I don't quite know how to explain it, where you know it isn't real. But they're becoming increasingly sophisticated, so yeah.
Now, whose job do you think it is to police the internet and clean up the internet? Because, I mean, in this instance, for example, Facebook themselves decided not to take this video down in Instagram.
Yeah, well, Facebook kind of had to take that decision because they didn't remove a video of Nancy Pelosi last month, which had been doctored. It wasn't a deep fake, but it had been edited. And so it would have been quite hypocritical if they had then had taken it down of their own CEO. So yeah, there seems to be a policy emerging from Facebook, which is leave them up, but flag that they are fake and push them down people's news feeds so that they're not as visible.
Many are saying 30,000 new extra members of staff at Facebook is a drop in the ocean, considering the size of the problem. What do you think Congress might decide?
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I think certainly there will be potentially some kind of legislation eventually around the use of deepfakes for malicious purposes or for election interference. It's very difficult to regulate because the underlying technology, which is AI technology, generative adversarial images, you can't really regulate all uses of that, but there may be some that you can.
So let's assume that the law and the regulation are behind what actually happens in real life here. How do people at home, people around the world, spot these things? What kind of education is there out there for people at the moment, and what should we all be looking for to make sure we realise the difference between fake and real news?
I think for now, most people can just about spot them, but in all honesty, this isn't something that individual people will be able to combat, which is what makes it so scary, because eventually they will be so sophisticated that you won't be able to tell. I hate to say that.
We shall see. There's talk of like kite marks or trademarks.
Yeah.
No, for example, with Twitter, so they just try and ascertain which accounts are fake and which ones aren't. If you get that Twitter tick, that kind of idea. I know the European Union is talking about that.
Yeah, and there's one perhaps positive message here, which is the same technology that's being used to create these can also be used to identify them. So we'll see.
We certainly will. Thanks very much, Charlotte.